Yeah, so you think old man kangaroo is harmless, eh? But sometimes a male skippy will attack visitors in our native animal parks. My grandma, Tuppy Johnson, found some a bit dangerous in the 1920s. My father was a small boy when he described the battles his mother had with old man Roo. He said, sometimes she would put the old brown pony in the sulky and we'd go out and do a bit of sheep work. If she could see where wasn't too much scrub, she would take the three boys with her. With a cut lunch aboard, away they'd go. Old Dora of the sheep bitch would follow, though on this day we had a big old kangaroo dog, Whiskers, greyhound cross. He was half part staghound and bred from one of these Ashton Circus greyhound bitches. He was toothless, this old dog. His teeth had rotted out and he was pretty blind as well. Anyhow, we took off in the sulky. Whiskers got up full of arthritis and tried to follow. Mother swung the stock whip and said, "Go home, Whiskers, you are too old and useless." He had been a good dog in his day. So off we went to work. We get over onto the Chapman fence line and were going down the fence line, and what happened here? Dora bailed up a big old grey kangaroo, a monster standing at least 7 foot high when it reared up. Dora bailed him up, and he gathered Dora up in his arms. These kangaroos, they have a terrible strength. This big grey kangaroo, he was squashing old Dora. Her tongue was hanging out. This giant Roo, he was cracking the ribs with his arms and was trying to rake his hind foot up and down the ribs there. Yeah, Tuppy, she got out of the sulky and she got through the fence. She was a lame woman. She had suffered polio at a young age. She got out with a butcher's knife in her hand to go over and rescue the dog, to take tea and deal with this kangaroo that was killing her old dog. To our horror, no sooner had she stepped through the fence, instead of the kangaroo going on with the dog, he dropped the dog and attacked our mother. Just as he did so, then old Whiskers, the old half-blind dog, kangaroo dog, came trotting up. Old Whiskers jumped up and caught this big old Roo by the throat, and I'll swear to this day that he never put a tooth mark in that great kangaroo. Whiskers, he had such great strength, great power in his jaws, that he choked that kangaroo to death, and our mother got away. If it wasn't for Whiskers, we might have lost our mother that day. There is nothing that we could have done as small boys. Many Australians do not realise how dangerous a kangaroo can be. A buck kangaroo, particularly in the mating season in the parks, I have noticed they have kangaroo males and females in together. In the off-season, these roos are okay. The old buck is pretty docile. The difference is if he has a mate that's on season, and he is very protective of her, he would be the most dangerous thing to tackle that I know. A boar pig is pretty bad, but the old man Roo is dangerous. Don't go in the water, you might get held down under to drown by the Roo. Another time I saw the dogs bail up a kangaroo. Mother was there on a horse after it. Then I saw this kangaroo grab her horse by the throat, and our mother was fighting him there using a butcher's knife, while the Roo slashed at the horse with his hind legs and bit her on the arms. They can bite like a dog almost, and can bite pieces out of you. Still, she tried to kill him with the blade, and she eventually killed him with the butcher's knife. She was a pretty game sort of woman, our mother, or my grandmother, and had to be in those days to be able to attack anything in the bush. When she was mounted the old creamy mare and went out into the bush, she always took a stick with her, a knockout stick, she called it. The club was a sapling of a tree and had a knob on one end. She carried it in her hand. The early settlers of Australia used a club to kill emu or kangaroo, usually at the gallop, down a fence line. Kangaroo are very prolific breeders after the wet, and the female produces more joeys in the good times when there's plenty of grass and not many in the drought times, so they sort of hold off breeding until the grass comes. Constant drought, yeah, in the constant drought. Conservationists don't see the full picture. Sure, some species may be under threat, but if you travel across the dry inland for thousands of miles of Australia, you will see many dead kangaroos alongside the roads by the dozen, all killed by jumping in front of passing cars and trucks. This is why the country cars have bull bars, roo protection for the cars. Sometimes I think we have more roos than sheep in this country. I have tried kangaroo tail soup and it was okay. The older generation of Australians before 2000 didn't eat roo, mainly, because of the many worms in his paunch. Emu tossed in with a bit of corn silverside was much the same to eat. You couldn't tell the difference. A leg of emu wouldn't be fly blown, hung up under a tree, strangely enough. Yeah, the flies didn't bite it for some reason. Black snake and wild duck taste almost the same to me. At Dirranbandi in the 1950s, two locals followed a big roo till he was exhausted in a truck down a fence line. Jumping out, they wrapped him up in a wool pack and took him back to town. There they carried him into a neighbour's backyard and let him go in the Thunderbox. Outside toilet enclosed shed with seat and drum to catch the droppings. Torn strips of newspaper with tissue paper on a nail. Arfur bounded into the toilet at daylight with a guts ache and left through the wall. Both occupants escaped injury and departed separately from the deformed Thunderbox. Thank you by Don Johnson.